Welcome back to another web development podcast where we help aspiring developers get jobs and junior developers grow. In this podcast episode, we're going to share this young man's story about how he became a freelance developer, pays his bills with it, traveled to a different country. He has a pretty elaborate story, so we're going to dive into all of that. But essentially, I want to give you kind of another success story, another story of a self-taught developer making it, right? This is going to be realistic. I'm not trying to paint some dream or fairy tale. He's going to share all the ups and downs of his journey. But thanks so much for coming on.
That's great. Thank you for your time.
Absolutely. So let's go ahead and just jump into it and start with this. Before you even started learning how to code, what were you doing before? And then what made you think that you want to transition into becoming a developer?
Yeah, so actually before starting web development, I was in Canada. I was a student. I just finished high school, and I didn't know what I had to do, what I wanted to do for my future, and what made me choose actually web development was actually the freedom. Just the freedom. At first was just you think about the future, you think about technology, think about. When you're working as a software developer, you just have this freedom to work anywhere, and it was the condition. It was not really the love of coding first. It was really the condition, the salary I had in my head. I thought software developers were really good, well paid. So this was the condition. It was not really the love of coding. After that, I learned how to love coding, but at the beginning it was just the condition, the freedom it gives me.
That's interesting. So a lot of people they consider it, of course, for the money and the freedom, and especially financial freedom. Do you feel how important is it for you to actually enjoy coding to finally, become a professional developer?
You mean how I enjoy coding?
Or for example, do you think the average person that's transitioning into software engineering for the money, do you think if they didn't really have much enjoyment out of it, they would become a developer?
Personally, I think they're not going to be able. I don't know, maybe there's some people, but for a personal what I think is you cannot be a software developer if you don't like it, because especially at the beginning it's really tough. If you're self-taught, obviously, you really need to enjoy it, because at first I thought it was going to be really quick, like a lot of developers, they start, we're trying to sell them this fake dream, 3 months you're going to make it. So I thought it was going to be quick. So even if I don't like it, it's no problem. I'm going to learn it, make some money. But then when you start after 3 months, don't get anything. 6 months, not get anything. You have to enjoy it. You have to really be passionate. You want to learn. Even me, what really made me love it. Of course, this coding is actually really nice. I really learn how to love solving problems. It was really nice. Debugging, being angry, and then you find the solution. You're so happy. So that made me enjoy it. But the thing was, I really like the fact that I can build a business for me. That was one of the thing that made me love it. I can do something for my own. So I think you cannot be a software developer if you don't enjoy it, because it's really hard when you start, especially if you're self-taught.
Yeah, a lot of self-taught developers struggle. The whole point of doing this video is to kind of give a little bit more of a realistic situation of how you can become one. But a lot of self-taught developers struggle. And I would even argue most that starts, they end up giving up because it's too hard. And there's a variety of reasons why they do that. But in your opinion, even thinking about your journey, what were some of the hard points of learning how to code and becoming a developer, and how do you overcome them?
Actually, I think the hardest thing at the beginning for me was really just understanding what I need to do to become a software developer, because obviously you see some videos on the internet learn HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and then get your first job. But for me it wasn't that at all. For me to get my first job, actually I was really happy, because I know some people that take some 1 year, 2 years to get their first job. I was really happy to get my first job as after 9 months. And obviously before that, I was freelancing like some small freelance project, nothing really big. So I was really blessed with that. I had some friends in Canada; they needed some website. So for me, what was really difficult at the beginning is just the knowing what you need to do to get your job. You think HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and you start making your resume, and you start applying, and then after you learn, oh, but JavaScript is maybe not enough. I need to learn a framework. Then you learn React. Then you learn React, but they all ask me TypeScript. So then I learn TypeScript. Some tell me testing. So then I learned testing. So it's like really like learning what you need to learn. Actually, was really difficult for me. So I didn't have a mentor to show me the routes. So that was really difficult for me, actually.
Yeah. It's really hard to figure out what you need to learn. I mean, you can look at 10 different companies and they're going to ask for 10 different things. Yeah. And it's frustrating. And it's like, if you don't know a professional software engineer, it's kind of just like looking at a different language sometimes. Like, how do you figure that out, you know?
Yeah, actually, that was really difficult because how I had this mindset I go to an interview, what they ask me, or the applying like the job applying on LinkedIn, for example, you see what the requirements. Then if I see TypeScript, I was in my head, okay, I need to learn TypeScript. So I was stopping applying. I was stopping like working, even for freelance. I was like, it was stopping to learn, and that was a big mistake actually. When I see back, I should have just continue applying and then learning at the side, continue freelancing, building my network. But yes, so I was like, learning, and then I was stopping everything, and then applying, and then learned that, I need testing. So I stopped. I learned testing. I stopped. I learned design patterns. So this was a problem for me. But yeah, I finally find the way out. But yeah, the way is really difficult. Really difficult when you don't have a mentor. You see so much video, then you see, maybe I'm hopping from PHP, and then you see, but JavaScript environment you see some people telling you that's better JavaScript, and then you see, but front end is better, and then you see some people advising you back end. So you're hopping. So it's really difficult. Like as a self-taught, it's just finding the good route for you and just sticking to it and knowing what you need to learn next, and that's the hardest part actually for me.
Yeah, I mean, and that's a problem. It's like, tons of content creators are selling courses. There are tons of coding boot camps that are selling very long curriculums that teach you the full stack. And I feel like so many developers, like you kind of, I liked how you would constantly reassess what you needed to know based on like what your goals were and even trying to land that first job. And I'm sure like freelancing probably challenged what you should learn, but like it's super confusing for people because they feel like they need to learn the full stack, right? What the hell does that mean? And they just try to learn everything possible to stick it on their resume as a skill. But the problem is they're spread thin. Like, what the hell can they actually do? And like, did they dive into anything? Are they, super interested in front end or accessibility, or like, are they really interested into like the business logic of the back end? Like you said, diving into something and like just sticking with it, I think could be very helpful.
Yeah, of course. And actually, even like when you go to startups or, of course, now I'm the most of my income is from freelancing. But when I remember, like when I was learning, I thought I need to learn back end, front end, and then even my first position I got was a full stack position in a small startup in Algeria, but I only did front end. I don't even know why they asked me full stack. I was only doing front end. So so I think you should this was a full stack position, but I was only doing some front end job. But that's sometimes because of the HR don't really know what they need to ask. So I mean, just stick to something you like. Example for myself right now, I'm really loving front end. I'm really loving front end. And you get to front end position, and then maybe even if in the startup you can change later. For example, enter a startup, and then later maybe they want to do a mobile app. You say, okay, maybe I can try to learn. And so you just start the front end or back end, what you like, mobile, enter the industry, and then later you can learn something else if you want to hop something something else. Yeah, I think you should stick to something because you're gonna lose so much time for nothing.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, true. And a lot of people kind of have that a lot of people don't give themselves enough time to be able to land that first position anyways. So,
Yeah.
Okay, take me through your journey of like trying to find material. Like, how did you learn to code? Did you have any specific courses you learned? Did you watch YouTube videos?
Yeah, actually, I was like the typical developer learning from YouTube, and I think a lot of developers are stuck in tutorial hell. So I was really stuck. I was really, really stuck. And at a moment, I thought I was outside the tutorial hell. And even if I had some friend telling me some advice how to go out from tutorial hell, I give them advice, but I was still in the tutorial hell without knowing it actually, because I remember I was learning from YouTube, and then I would learn, like, for example, I started the React, and then I follow a video to do a project, and then I follow like 2-3 project videos so I can put them in my portfolio. But I wasn't really understanding. Like, I remember I was doing an e-commerce website, like following a YouTuber on YouTube of an e-commerce website, and he was using Redux. But after the whole application, like, I was still like, I was just copying the code. I didn't really understand like how state really worked in React. But I did an e-commerce website following a YouTuber. That's a real problem. For me right now, I don't like try to say that the courses are bad, or of course you should learn when you begin courses. But for me, when I stopped looking at courses and really start to code myself. I remember the most I learned I remember I was really happy when I started coding. It was for my first job. They told me, there was no like algorithm interview, so it was like a home project. They told me to make a home project, so there was no video, so I can type. They asked me to like sort of product management, was really, really small, and I didn't have. I even tried. I tried to go to YouTube, product management, React. I didn't find any video, so I said, okay, I need to do it myself. So then I started. I really learned how does state work, how do you connect the front end to a back end by myself, and so it's really like doing a real project by yourself. That's the way you can learn. And just for courses, and I know like a lot of people have opinions, but for me, I'm pretty against like courses and just follow the courses. Maybe you can learn some concept here and there, but for me right now, I really think that person will learn by doing some code. Even if you learn the basics of React, learn what you need. For example, you want to do a small landing page, so you will learn the front, and then you want to add a newsletter. See how you can do this newsletter, add this newsletter contact form, and then you will build your knowledge with something that you use in a project. And I think that's the best way to learn for myself.
I like that. Well, I feel like the advice that you're given, like, it really resonates with me. Like, I'm someone that didn't really understand how to code and understand how state works in React until I built something. I had to build something. I still remember looking at courses, like 2, 3, 4 courses. I don't know how many courses deep I was. And like, I still like, I see what they're saying to build, but I don't really understand how it's working. And like, when I try to visualize everything, it's just like, it was just this abstraction that I could not grasp until I got my hands dirty with the code. Like, and that's where I think people get lost in tutorial hell. They expect an A to Z solution. They go through a course, they finish the course, and they code. And then what almost always happens is, okay, now I'm going to try to code. I don't remember anything. Shit. Yeah. And then they have to like go back. But where, if they just learn some fundamentals, then get their hands dirty a little bit, and then, I'm stuck. Okay, let's learn something to get unstuck, and then keep moving forward with that pattern.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, just build your knowledge. Don't try to take everything at the same time. Just learn the basics. Maybe there's no problem if you want to start, like, let's say, for example, you want to learn React, and you see like a crash course or just how to set up your app. Mm-hmm. Maybe, of course, you see like the basics. Maybe there's no problem for you to see like a course and follow it. but really start your first app, and then you start your React app, and oh, how does what's the variables in React? Oh, this, like, there is a state in React, and then how use it? Oh, I use a counter. I'm like this, the basic counter app. Actually, you learn a lot from doing a counter app by yourself without learning video, because you learn state, how you can put like how you use function in React, and let's say, for example, event, like I don't know, on click or on change, how you target the input. Just start an app by yourself. There's no problem if you look at the crash course before. Then you have an idea of an app. You can take ideas in Google. There's so much app idea. You can start and just get your hand dirty. That's the best way you will learn. You'll never learn if you don't get your hand dirty, and just build your knowledge by doing your application.
I like it. I mean, that's honestly, your advice is the advice I often hear of successful self-taught developers. Like, if you want to be successful and you are really struggling, like, most people that give up are people that just go from course to course to course. And the success stories, I hear a very common pattern. It's, I did project work. I did a lot of project work. And when I got stuck, I learned when I needed to learn. Like, that pattern alone, it's just like, it's one of the most common things I hear from successful self-taught developers.
Yeah, of course, that's the best way. And even if I see back, obviously I'm really happy of what I'm right now. But like, if I see when I was beginning, I remember I learned, for example, PHP, because I thought it was that was the way to learn, to have a job for me, especially in Algeria. After I went to Algeria, so after that I learned. After I see that PHP is not really good to have a remote job, because I was looking for a remote job in foreign countries, because the salary is better. So then I learned, but they usually learn MERN stack. So I learned MERN stack. I learned how to use backend. But at the end, I only did front end development in my life. Like, I did really small backend, but I learned everything from the backend. Like how to set up your database, how you can like do a real full stack application. But I never use it. So just get your hand dirty. Do application that you like for it, and you're gonna learn. You're gonna learn by doing it. Fail. Google is your best friend, like we say, and yeah, that's the way. And I think there's no other way to learn. And I was stuck in tutorial hell. I think if I was still in Canada, and it was really easy, because in Canada it's really easy to get jobs. So I think I would probably just forget web development and just do a normal job, and I would have probably gave up. But because I was in Algeria and there was no way to come back, I remember the flight with COVID, so it was closed, the flight, so I couldn't go back to Canada. So I was stuck in Algeria, and I was obliged to get a job as a software developer. So that's what made me advance. And when I got this first home project, that's how I learned the most, get my hand dirty, and that's the way.
That's a interesting. I mean, that's an interesting fire under your butt, a motivation. When you realize, like, you wanted to go back to Canada, flights were closed, you're like, oh, this isn't good. I have to figure this out. Like, what was that experience like? Like, what were you thinking at the time?
It was. I remember it was really stressful. It was really stressful because, like especially with COVID. Actually, only just COVID was stressful, but then you stuck in Algeria, and you need to find a job, because at the time I remember, like, I knew you can be a self-taught developer, but I had still in the mind that you need to go back to Canada and like finish your studies, get a CS degree. I remember at that time, like, I knew I can do it, but I thought, oh, that's too difficult to get it alone. But I was obliged to do it alone when I was in Algeria. So that's what made me like continue and do it. And especially when I told like all my family that they told me, like, what are you gonna do, like, when you're in Algeria? Because I remember before I went to Algeria, my family told me, like, go and come back for like 1 month. But then after 1 month, I said, okay, I'm gonna do like the web development route, like the self-taught route. So I said, okay, give me 3 months, and if it works, I stay. If it doesn't work, I come back. But after 3 months, the flight blocked. So then I was still there. So then I was there, and if I don't get the job, they're gonna tell me, oh, you see, because you wanted to try to stay in Algeria, you didn't get a job, and what you told us is not true. So there was a lot of motivation from this point of view. Yeah, this was a real motivation. I think if I was in Canada, I would have probably quit and just do a regular job because it was really difficult.
Wow. And you made it work. You know what I want to dive into? Like, first of all, seriously, kudos to you for pushing forward with that. Some people would panic. Some people would really struggle, and you made it work. Okay. Sometimes that's what happens when you do get put into a situation where you have to make it work. It's amazing what people can achieve there. But talk more about like how you built up your freelance business, because I think some people have these aspirations that they want to work from them. Yeah. For themselves. And like, I love it, right? I love that people have an entrepreneurship spirit. They want that financial freedom. Reality is it just takes, I think like a minority of personalities would actually enjoy that. But then even a minority of that would actually be successful with the entrepreneurship route. So you actually built up your freelance business. Like you are an exceptional person to be able to do that. You're successful with that. Talk about like how you built up that business and that freelance business and what it was like.
Yeah. So actually, like again, like I said, I had a lot of help when I began. I'm not gonna say like, oh, I was really alone and everything was really hard. Like when I started, I remember I told one of my friends that I'm gonna start to learn web development. So my friend was like, entrepreneur. He has like a small business in Canada. So he told me, build me a website. So I was really happy that I had like a first client when I started like web development. So I know a lot of person don't have this opportunity, this chance. So yeah, so like I said, I had this guy. He needed one website first, and then he needed another website for something else. So I had like 2 contracts when I began. That was really, really a blessing, like I said. But apart of that, that's not from him. I got the most clients, because I know usually people, they say you're gonna get your first client, that's referential, and you're gonna build it from there. But actually, that wasn't the case for me. To really sustain, like to have a family, and here I didn't get it from this friend. It was helpful, but that's not how I really built my business, like this freelance. Business. So how I did so, first of all, you have to build your network. It's really important, like we say. You have to build your network. I started with LinkedIn. Probably you saw some of my content there. So I tried to post on LinkedIn, and then when you get some followers, try to contact companies. But for me, it didn't work this way, like the way people say. How I did it, actually, it was a friend from Canada. What I say is you should team up with other designers, other developers, especially if they're friends from yours. If you're close to them, for example, I had a friend. We're doing a business right now with my friend. We are really happy, like how the business is going. So this friend was a designer in Canada, and he was really good to get contract. And for me, I was really bad to get contract. I didn't have this good network. I didn't have this good network, especially in Algeria. Like the contract you get are really low paid, so I wasn't good for getting contract. But I team up with him and another developer, like more like Webflow, WordPress. So this guy was really good to get contract, and he didn't do development. So we teamed up with the other guys who were 3, and this was really like the unlock. So I team up with someone that was good to get contract. He wasn't good to get in development. I was good to development. I wasn't good in getting contract. He has a good network. I didn't have a good network. So I team up with him. Obviously, you make maybe less money because you have to separate the prices. Like you have to separate with him and the other guy. But you get contract. But if I stay alone, maybe I'm not gonna get contracts. I don't have this network. So for me, it was teaming up with someone from Canada. Especially, I was knowing him. It was my friend. So it was my friend before I started web development. But team up with someone, even if you don't have any contact, try to get close to people, especially in LinkedIn. I know there is a lot of fake in LinkedIn, fake people on LinkedIn, but there is some true people. You can try to connect with them. I find some amazing people on LinkedIn. Like, try to go on your network, try talk with people, set meetings, and really try to get close to them. And then you can team up. Try to find someone who's good at contract or designer. He's not good at development, and you team up. You make an agency. That's the way I did it, actually.
I can see why you were successful. That's really smart. A lot of people, they get advice on they should team up with someone. And some people kind of, I don't know if it's an ego, but they're just like, I don't want to split the money. Or some people don't take that initiative to reach out to people that complement their skills, or supplement what they, essentially don't have. Like, I love the idea of pairing up with a designer. And in Chicago, I don't think the meetup exists anymore, but there was a meetup that would pair product managers with developers. And that's fantastic because product managers can bring like a lot of direction. Like, if you can just code out based on requirements that are dished out by a product manager, like that's how a lot of junior developers start, and they have that network. And you mentioned you paired with someone that had that network, and you might not have gotten the contract positions without them.
Yeah, that's totally true. Especially because he's located in Canada, so the contract. Let's say, for example, for I remember like my first friend, like I said, for an e-commerce website. I think I did I was paid for the website like $200. That's pennies for an e-commerce website. It's nothing. But I accepted because that's my first contract. I said I take anything like at this time. So, but then with my friend, like for example, the last contract we had, it was an e-commerce website. We're actually building it right now, and it's 3,000 for just one page e-commerce website, and I couldn't do it alone. I think if I was alone, I would still maybe get like some 400, 500 contract client in Algeria. So the pay is not good, obviously, because the salary is not good there. So so it's when you think it's like, oh, but I'm gonna pair up with someone, I'm gonna have to split, but this has made me more money than if I stayed alone. So this is something you have to beat in your head. You have to, I don't know how to say, like you have to convince yourself it's gonna be more useful for you than painful.
Yeah, it's a mindset you have to instill in yourself. It's really good advice. Okay, that's interesting. I'm really excited that you made this freelance this venture work for you. You had mentioned, I just want to clarify, before we started talking, before we're recording, and you had mentioned, are you currently, because you had mentioned the startup, right? And part of your process, are you joining a new startup, or were you just mentioning like you had a startup previously that you joined?
No. Actually, like I said, like the primary earning I have is from my startup with my friends. But how I think as like entrepreneur or a freelancer is that I'm free. I can do what I want. That's the main goal. If I want to, like for example, I have this agency with my friends. I work with them, but I'm seeing that I have a lot of time. Because usually the contract, we always try to give a lot of time for the contract. So usually I don't have like that much code, and it suffices me for me and my family and the bills. So I see, okay, I have some time. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna join a startup. It's gonna make me more money if I want to save to, I don't know, buy a house or anything you want to do. And at the same time, I'm gonna go with a senior, because I have like one year, almost 1.5 years experience in web development. So I don't have this much experience. So what I did, because we do contract, but most of our contract are like Webflow, WordPress. I learned React, so I want to code. So I joined this startup called Vulkaza. Right now it's like a print 3D 3D like startup, and I'm gonna get so much experience. It's this week actually I joined it, so I'm gonna get so much experience from seniors there. And they asked me, I even went to the interview. They needed a mobile developer, but I told them like I don't really know mobile, but I'm really motivated to learn. And they really like my character, my personality, how I'm motivated, and so they need me for this mobile app. and I took this chance. I don't know mobile, and the startup accept me for mobile, and they're gonna be a senior, gonna help me to do it. So this is a chance for me. I'm gonna take it, get some experience, and even later I can use it in my own agency, taking more complex website, because right now we don't have like that much experience to get really big contracts. Like some 6-month contract or like some $50,000 contract. I don't know, like some big application. We don't have this experience right now. So this is a chance for me. I'm a freelancer. I have this freedom. I'm doing my agency at the primary, and at the side now I have this startup, and it's now it's the first week, so I'm gonna see how it goes. But from the first week I see the team. I think it's gonna be great, and I think I'm gonna take so much experience because I saw the senior there. They're really good, so I'm gonna take this experience and later even use it in my own agency. It's gonna be useful for me and my future. So yeah, freelancer is a free guy. That's the main point.
I like it. Well, and that's also, in my experience, I think people are going to have a better time and you went the different route, you made it work, which is great. But I think people are going to have a better time when they join a company on a experienced team, learn good conventions, and level up quickly, then go to freelancing. I think most people are going to be successful more often than not that way. But like, you're right, like going onto a team with senior developers that can help you grow. Like it is a fantastic opportunity, and like you said, I mean, freelancing it's almost like a state of mind. It's a state of mind of financial freedom, and that's always going to be your long-term goal. And just using companies to, like, you spend a year there, spend 2 years there, whatever, to like really level up, and you could take that into, especially like if you get into the startup world where like
that's a startup. Actually, that's why I joined them.
That's a good idea, because you get exposure to different departments, product design, UX, and you get like some of the business needs and like issues that you have to overcome. You learn all that, and you can take that into your business as well. I think that was a great idea.
Yeah, that's actually a startup, and that's why I joined them, because it's, even in a startup, you're so much free, because I need this freedom so I can work at any time. If I have this agency, I have maybe some meetings with clients, or so I needed this like freedom too. So I joined the startup, and even like for me, working with a startup, it's so much. I enjoy it like so much better than a big company. I don't really think I'm gonna love working with a big company. I like working with a small team. You learn so much from each other. You're really close to your teammates, and even when you're a startup, you're a part of the company. When you're a big company, I think, because I never work in a big company, but I think when you're a big company, like you work on really small section of the company, you're not really involved in the whole company. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's what I think. But in a startup, like, you're a part of the whole company. Sometimes they even ask you what do you think about, sometimes related to marketing. Sometimes you even talk with them. You learn about marketing. You learn how you can work like a business. So that's really a good experience when you go in a startup. For me, that's, I think, one of the best company you can start your journey, a startup. Even if it's pay less, because of course they don't have the same, they cannot pay you like this, like a big company, but you get so much more than just the pay. You learn so much. For me, I think so.
Yeah, I agree. I think you're on a great journey of learning to code. I like that you're humble enough to actually want to learn from more senior engineers. I think that's gonna like really help you in the long run. Okay, I mean, like, this is a pretty cool journey to hear about. Seriously, I think we got the full breadth of it. Before we wrap this up, and I'll let you shout stuff out at the end, of course, because I want to hear about it. But would you provide like any like final closing advice for aspiring developers that are kind of struggling right now?
Final advice. Obviously,
feel free to think about it.
Like we said before, like, get your hand dirty, but for me, it's really get like focus on something. For me, that's the best way, because I lost so much time. Get focused on something, but not only into code. Try to build at the same time your network. Try to even for a job. Actually, that's for me. That's just an advice for people, like, if they want to get a job. Actually, when you're on LinkedIn, just don't or Indeed or mostly in LinkedIn, because in Indeed you cannot do it. Don't just apply to job. Don't just apply to job. Think outside. So what you're gonna do? Don't just postulate for a job and apply. Get to the company, contact some employee, and even them, they're gonna see how you're motivated, how you're. They say, oh wow, this guy take the time to reach out to everyone of the team, and he really want to get the job. And that's how I got the job at the startup, actually. So I contact everyone in the company. I said, I'm really motivated to join. I need this interview and all, and that's how I got the job. So think outside the box. Don't do like every other developer do. Get your hand dirty, and then start to apply. Start your network. Start to try to get money. Don't just learn. Get a basic. You have your hand dirty. You got the basics, and then start to apply. Think outside the box. How you can apply. How you can reach out to companies. And that's the way I think for me it works really well.
That's good advice. For all the people that keep popping into my live streams telling me that all developers should just like spam out 500 their resume to 500 companies on Indeed and just click apply and move on. Like there's a reason why you're not getting that job eventually. Like I mean your strategy and thinking outside the box, like it's a really good strategy that more aspiring developers should take seriously, especially during these times. Recession has hit a lot of countries, right? And so you have to think like your advice, most people won't even take. And so like my advice is, if you take Amin's advice right now, you're going to be the minority of developers. You are going to stand out. All these other developers are just spamming their resume. They're putting some project-based tutorial on their portfolio, if they even have a portfolio, if they even have a GitHub. Like there are actually so many ways that you can stand out. But like taking that initiative on LinkedIn whenever you're applying for a company it's good advice. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. And just before you just like even to give this example, when you're on LinkedIn, try to not be like I'm a web developer. Try to have like a personal brand, even build a personal brand. For example, just to give an example, this startup that I joined, they really like the fact that I take the risk to went to another country. Like presently I'm in Indonesia, so they like the fact that, oh wow, this young guy is 19 years old. He took this risk to go to Indonesia. He's a risk taker. Of course, he's more. He looks so much motivated. So just build also a personal brand. Like I don't know, maybe you have something else to show, and stand out. That's the word actually.
I like that. That's great advice. Seriously, I mean, I appreciate you sharing your story with us.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your time. I'm really happy to be here.
Yeah, absolutely. So before we forget, if people wanted to reach out to you and like anything else you want to shout out, what do you want to share with us?
Yeah, so actually, if people want to contact me, I think where I'm the most actually like active is on LinkedIn. So they can just contact me on LinkedIn if they need like some advice, because I know there is a lot of people like usually they contact me like, how did you get to be like a nomad? How did you how did you leave your country to go another country as a web developer? So if they need some advice, because I know a lot of people contact me for it. So yes, they can contact me on LinkedIn. I'm probably I'm trying to post on code. I'm trying to be like a content creator. I might also start a YouTube channel. I really want to start a YouTube channel too. So it's on LinkedIn. If they want to contact me, to reach out to me, it's on LinkedIn.
Sounds good. Now. Yeah. Okay. For right now. I appreciate that. And if you ever do get into YouTube, as a thank you for doing this podcast, feel free to reach out to me. I'm happy to hop on Zoom and share some advice.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Absolutely. For your time, and I hope everyone will be successful as a developer.